Hi everyone. So for my group proposal, I decided to do a bereavement group using some cognitive behavioral approaches. So let's get started. So group rationale, loss, death, grief, they're all universal experiences. Every individual at some point in their life is going to experience some loss. And so even though it is a universal experience, oftentimes loss can feel like a really isolating experience. And everyone's grieving processes are different. Every individual is different, but what usually helps is having social support. So a bereavement group would be a great way for someone to receive that support. And in addition to that support, individuals also have the ability to start developing healthy coping skills to move through their grief in a healthy manner. And for type of group, like I said, it's a bereavement group that will be using cognitive behavioral approaches. And the criteria is basically anyone who has experienced a loss within the last 2 years and is over the age of 18. So if you meet that criteria, you're eligible for the screening process. And the reason I wanted to do 2 years was because grieving is often a long journey. It takes people a while. Not everyone, of course, but it can be a long experience. And so I didn't want to be too brief in my time frame. And so this group will consist of 6 sessions, 90 minutes each. And in addition to that, there will be a follow-up session, which will take place 1 month after the group terminates. So group goals is to just to start the normalization of emotional reactions, and that can be done through the facilitator, through psychoeducation. And so the group really is will bring to light negative interpretations about loss and death and life and everything in between that's associated with grief. Another goal is to integrate the loss into the client's life. So the clients will explore what the loss will mean to their everyday life, how they will integrate that loss into their life, the way they see fit. And also, because this is a cognitive behavioral group, we'll be looking to reduce avoidant behavior. So oftentimes with loss and with death, people avoid talking about that loss and the emotional reactions that come with it. So the reason they avoid talking is because they might want to avoid feeling sad. And so not that we want to make the clients feel sad, but we want them to stop avoiding talking about their loss or thinking about their loss and develop healthy cognitive, healthy thoughts and in order to reduce those avoidant type of behaviors. So membership criteria, like I said, the individual must be 18 years or older. The reason for that is because I figured an adolescent bereavement group might look a little bit different, or a child bereavement group might look a little different. So I just decided to just do the adults. And again, death must have occurred within the last 2 years, give it a decent time frame. And members in the screening process, they will be made aware that it is a weekly thing, and they must commit to not only attending sessions, but to doing work outside of the session, which includes, homework assignments, behavioral rehearsals, and any other techniques that we decide to use. And they must also agree to sign the informed consent form. So recruitment will be done through social media and through community outreach. So we will put up flyers in local health centers in community recreation centers and local community colleges and universities. I want it to be very diverse where we would reach these populations, so just different areas within communities. So specific objectives. One of the main things is just for people to start gaining a healthy outlook on loss, death, and grief. It's not uncommon for after a death to really just develop maybe a negative outlook just towards loss, maybe survivor's guilt, whatever it may be. So we want to start gaining a healthy outlook on that, and to decrease anxiousness and any type of social isolation that may occur with people experiencing grief. So CBT will be used to guide members into thinking about how their loss has affected their relationships. So if they're isolating, if they're maybe clinging to specific individuals because they're afraid of losing someone again. So those type of things will be explored. We'll be seeking to increase the individual's self-awareness, and in addition to that, their self-esteem. And so again, we will be exploring the meaning of that loss in relation to their life. So we really want to be asking, has their loss skewed any of their outlooks on life, and has that led to any irrational thoughts and behaviors? So that's really what we want to be looking at as a CBT focused group. More specific objectives. So it's to decrease avoidant behaviors. Are they avoiding thinking about the individual or individuals that they lost? Is there any type of emotional numbing going on? Emotional detachment from certain individuals? Are they avoiding activities that they used to do with their loved ones because they associate that activity with their loved one? So individuals must start making meaning of that loss in order to move forward. So negative thoughts need to be addressed, and they need to be placed with just healthier thoughts about that person, about the loss itself, so that they can start getting rid of those avoidant behaviors. So topics and activities. For our first session, I wanted to start it a little bit light with just a beanbag game. So individual tosses the beanbag to each other. When they get the beanbag, they just state a small fact about themselves. And we continue that until everyone has had a chance to go. And then we just do brief introductions, what brought them into the group. Because it's the first session, I don't expect everyone to just immediately share everything. So the first session might not, we might not get to the CBT just yet. And because I want to start getting them into the habit of homework, just a short journaling activity about their loved one. Session 2, the icebreaker, they just share a piece of their journaling activity. And for the discussion, we'll focus on how their grieving process has looked so far. Again, every individual is different, so we really want to get every individual's process. Start implementing psychoeducation about grief. So when members are discussing their own experience in their grieving process, that's when the co-facilitators can step in and provide some psychoeducation. In addition to that, in the second session, I do want to start members on developing their SMART goal. And for homework, again, just another journal activity. I want them to share their favorite memory about their loved one or with their loved one. And the reason for 2 journaling activities in a row is just because as one of our goals is to reduce avoidant behaviors and to get them to start talking about their loved ones, I figured journaling activities would be a great way to kind of start them off. So session 3, just share a bit about their memory that they wrote about in their journaling activity. Discussion is going to focus on any changes that have happened in their life as a result of that loss. So what we really want to get to is, what do those changes mean to them and to their life. Do they want to change, enhance, keep those changes? We'll also use the ABC model to get a better idea about their thoughts and behaviors. And after we do get those ideas from the ABC model, we'll start implementing behavioral rehearsals. And for the homework for that week, just I want to start giving them the opportunity to start collaborating and assigning homeworks that are relevant to what was discussed. So I just left that a bit open. Session 4, again, discuss homework. We'll do more behavioral rehearsals and really start getting members to discuss what new learning they would like to implement and take with them once we have terminated. For homework, I wanted to do a scheduling activity. So again, we're trying to reduce avoidant behaviors. So group members will be expected to schedule a certain time during the week to do an activity that they've been avoiding doing because it may remind them of their loved one. Again, it can include an activity they used to do with their loved one. It can include an activity that they just would want to start doing because it helps them take their mind off of things. So again, the goal is to start taking action against those avoidant behaviors. Session 5. So just to check in, how did the scheduling homework go? During this time, I really want to start getting members used to providing feedback. And I think during check-ins is a great way to start them off with that and to really encourage it. And the discussion for this week will just focus on finding new meanings. They've hopefully been really diligent with their homework and starting to rehearse certain behaviors that they would like to start implementing. And hopefully through that, they are finding new meanings in their life. And so for homework, again, just another behavior rehearsal. So this should include any testing of new behaviors that they've learned in session that they want to implement into the real world. Session 6, again, just a quick check-in. How did the homework go? This group session is very, very fast-paced, so I didn't really want to waste time doing, the basic icebreaker games. I really want to get it moving. And so discussion will just center, because this is the last session, discussion will center on any worries that they might have about termination. Is there any fear? Are they just really excited to just get it going? And for closing, just some quick feedback to each other. And co-facilitators will remind all of the members about their follow-up session, which will occur 1 month after termination. And again, will just be another 90-minute session. So in the follow-up session, for the follow-up, I do want to start kind of lighthearted since a month has gone by and hopefully a lot of positive changes have occurred. So what has been the best thing to happen in the last month or week or day, whatever they would like? And again, I just wanted to start off a bit positive there. Discussion, so just a quick catch up, what's happened in the last month. Has there been any behavioral changes that you've continued to work on? Is there something you need more support with? How are their long-term goals going? Is there any fears now that the follow-up session is over? And so all of that will be addressed then. And we'll just close with a quick mindfulness meditation just to kind of wrap things up. Again, this was a very, very fast-paced group, and so we want to make sure that we're also being mindful of just their feelings and make sure that they're doing okay with this, with just such a fast pace. So means of evaluating outcomes. So at the beginning, before we do our first session, we will ask members to fill out the complicated grief assessment the Beck Depression Inventory, and the Beck Anxiety Inventory. And then at the end, when we terminate, members will be asked to complete those same assessments once again. In addition to that, we'll be asking them for written and verbal feedback throughout the 6 sessions. And so what will happen is we'll use the before and the after to really gauge what progress was made. And in addition to that, we also want to be mindful if any individuals really haven't progressed, that we are providing them with additional support outside of the group. So ethical and practical issues, these can include unclear boundaries, unhealthy countertransference, and unintentional harm. Grief is a very heavy topic, and it can be, I don't want to say common, but maybe the co-facilitators will maybe be guided more by emotion than their ethics, and that might make the boundaries a bit unclear. So we want to make sure that there's adequate supervision. In addition to that, unhealthy countertransference. I always try to remind myself that countertransference doesn't have to be bad, but it is bad when it starts impeding with the therapeutic process. So it's important for co-facilitators to be mindful of that. And if there is unhealthy countertransference, that they are seeking supervision. Another thing to be really, really mindful of is that CBT might not be suitable for every client. And so during the screening process, it's very important to make potential members aware of what CBT entails, that it is a very strong commitment. It's a very active approach that requires just a strong commitment to be doing work outside of the sessions, not just in sessions. These were some of the references I used in both my presentation and the paper. And I decided to include some resources here in LA, or it's all of Southern California, I believe. These are just a few of them. I also included a link here at the bottom that UCLA Health provides. I really recommend that just to have as a source as future counselors. And yeah, I really recommend checking these out. And yeah, just want to say thank you, and I will attach the PowerPoint itself to the post as well. Thank you.